Welcome to That Japanese Thing. Today we're going to be talking about the, I believe, spring season of anime. I know it's a little bit late, but it's given us time to watch what shows we're going to watch at this point and form an opinion on them. Today with me is Dylan and Yesh. I am Christopher, your host. Welcome to That Japanese Thing. Hi guys, how you doing?
Hola. Good. Good.
Hello.
Good. So there's so much more anime than there used to be. It's actually impossible to. I saw Guguk on his second channel had a thing where he watches one episode of every anime.
Mhm.
But boy, that must be super exhausting, especially when you look at some of these things that are coming out.
There are so many anime out there. Actually, I was part of Gigak's Patreon crew at one point,
Right.
a long time ago. And he would do the exact same thing. I think it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago. He did the same thing, but he did it as a Patreon stream.
Right.
So if you were a member of the Patreon, you could watch the episode with him and then comment. And yeah, back then it took 4.5 hours to go through one episode of everything. God knows with how many anime are released today. It's just madness.
Yeah.
I wanna ask our audience if anyone knows about VRV. If they can,
Yeah.
leave a comment on if it's worth jumping through some loops to use it. Because it does seem like it does get more anime than any other
Platform.
thing by
individually.
itself, right?
hmm
I mean, maybe Crunchyroll is comparable, but Crunchyroll's interface is just awful.
Yeah,
I
it does
don't,
leave.
I don't like it. It's the servers are slow, and especially I mean, it's weird because to use their online service and have the service sort of crash during peak times is a weird experience that I've had with Crunchyroll a few times. That just makes me not want to use it. Also, they only have English subtitles, which I would. Well, maybe sometimes they have Portuguese and such, but I like Japanese subtitles as well. Just to makes watching anime easier for me. And Netflix and Amazon sometimes have. So those are what I tend to watch things on. Anyone with some opinions about VRV? I'd like to hear them.
I have used VRV for 6 months before.
Right.
This is no longer a recent opinion, sadly, but about 2 years ago, I used it for about 6 months because I was disillusioned with Crunchyroll. It offers a better service than Crunchyroll from a catalog perspective,
Right.
but only on the new stuff. I personally didn't find it worth the money because, as odd as it's going to sound from me to say this, I don't watch anime that much.
No, Yesh is more of a novel
Manga person.
manga guy. Yeah. No, fair enough.
So I'm watching about 4 anime a season or less, usually less. And I think the monthly fee at that time was like $14 a month.
That's not terrible. I mean,
It's certainly not terrible.
depending on the interface, I think that's totally fine.
I found the interface slick. I found it very usable. And also, it had a TV app and an iPad app.
Yeah.
It's accessible, it's slick, it's usable. It had a good catalog of the new stuff coming, like it had a combined catalog that was quite good. But I found the cost not worth the value, for me at least.
The reason I bring this up, I suppose, is I wasn't able to find Love After World Domination on any of the streaming services I have. So I haven't watched it. It is one of the things I will probably end up, procuring by some other means later on.
Indeed. Amusingly, I found out that Summertime Render is on Disney Plus.
Yes, and that it also is difficult to arrange.
I'm going to be
sometimes.
getting Disney Plus when it launches, so I will watch it fully then.
People might think when it launches, it's been out for years. What are they talking about?
In South Africa, Disney Plus is launching next month.
Which is crazy because there's no reason it shouldn't have launched. I assume there was some rights issues somewhere.
They've been
tying it up.
working around the South African government because we have some rules that dictate that you must have local content of a certain number before you're allowed to stream in our country.
Which,
An
yeah,
absolutely insane requirement that Netflix has had to make happen.
indeed.
And Disney Plus is completely cheating with by buying the rights to air the Netflix content.
Yes, yeah.
Abstractions.
I'm sure there was some money that changed hands with that sort of budget.
Well, I
somewhere.
mean, if you think about it, rather than getting an entire set of film crews and stuff together and filming new content, just buying the rights to that stuff for 50% and giving Netflix some money back for the shit it had to go through
Yeah.
makes sense for both companies.
There is obviously another way to get Disney Plus. If you
Indeed,
just,
there is an alternative, but I don't wish to anger the mouse. So,
right, and also I just don't feel like it's worth it for me as a person. I think if I really liked Marvel, which, I don't hate Marvel or anything, it's fine. I like comic books, but I'm not going to watch them over and over again. And so only so many Star Wars TV shows I'm willing to.
as a man
to
with
watch.
3-year-old nephews and who also
That's the
likes
market,
Marvel.
right? Yeah, parents and children.
Well, I mean, I also like Marvel. I like the new series that they bring out. I'd like to be able to watch them in a more standard fashion. If the way to do that is accessible, not priced out of my brackets, and not terrible to use, I'll do it that way.
And one of my things was I'd want to watch certain Star Wars movies sometimes, maybe. But I figured, well, I can just buy them on my iPad, and then I have them forever, and I don't have to pay a subscription fee. So, is there any actual reason to pay a monthly subscription fee just for 6 Star Wars movies?
The new season of The Mandalorian, assorted other
Will
things.
find its way to me somehow.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I understand that there's means for everything, but especially since I plan on streaming it to the TV for my nephews, and especially because there's new Marvel shows coming out regularly that I am interested in.
So I
For
wonder if-
me, it
wonder if
has a
you
good
could-
cost value.
I wonder if you could just buy it on like Apple TV, like a season of The Mandalorian. Probably can.
Once they complete screening the entire season, it does go to other platforms. So yes, it's probably possible.
Yeah.
It
And
might be on
being
Amazon.
just like 6 episodes, it's not even that long to wait. Anyway, but that's that aside, right? Like, apparently, I'm willing to pay like quite a lot of money for an anime streaming service, but none to Disney. I suppose that just speaks to my bias, I guess.
Indeed.
I have a similar bias. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's the Love After World Domination. I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I'll probably wait until it's finished now, though. It's been weeks now, and then just binge it. But yeah, it looked good. I liked the trailers, but I haven't seen it. The things I have seen though are English names. Here we go. Shikimori is not just a cutie.
How did you find that?
Oh, it's like the inverse of the normal
Yeah.
Japanese love story, gender-wise.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's funny.
Well, yeah,
I quite
that's
like
one
it.
of the ones that I'm quite keen to actually watch.
So you're saying it's a shoujo manga, but we're following the guy.
Yeah.
So no, well, maybe basically, actually, just the guy is the girl, the girl's the guy. That's all
Yeah,
they've
that's
done,
what I'm
right?
saying.
Yeah.
So it's a shoujo romance where there's a really attractive, cool character who protects our protagonist,
Correct.
who is really cinnamon bunny about it.
But yeah, so she's
but-
the manly one, right? And
Right.
we were talking about the kabedon, where you thud the wall,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
guy,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And like she will do that sort of thing to him, right? And she doesn't really mean to be like very manly or anything. She just kind of is good at things, and he's kind of bad at things, and he gets into trouble a lot, and he seems to be kind of unfortunate in that he has like a fate that attracts trouble to him. So he'll go help a person, and then he'll end up being in the trouble situation that they were in, right? Or like just like pot plants will fall on his head from Second Story and that sort of thing. And she's like kind of almost a superhero in that regard, but her superpower is being able to protect him. So that's the story of the title, right? That's why it's called Not Just a Cutie. It's just I think in the Japanese it sort of translates to My Girlfriend is Cute But, you know. Because like she's more like cool than cute, right? And when you see some of the shots that they do, she's got this kind of like mean face when she's doing cool things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's fun.
She's got
it's not serious.
seinen face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's got the kind of almost the villain of the series sort of face, right? When she's in that mode.
But the super cool villainous hero is kind of popular in romance nowadays.
I mean, I like fierce and strong women. It's a thing.
I mean, if you're into that, that's cool.
Oh boy, would you love after world domination, Freeman?
Probably. I also looked at that and thought it might look, but similar problems to Chris in terms of position.
Yeah. But I will get to that. I mean, I think I read like a chapter of the anime. It looked good. So sorry, the manga. Was it manga or was it a light novel?
It's a manga.
Yeah, definitely manga. Okay. And then there was Therme Roma Nove. Or Nove. I don't know how to say V's in Latin sometimes. But it doesn't matter. So this is an old show. They made an anime. And that anime, I don't know where it is, but you can find it on Japanese Netflix though. But Netflix decided to do a revamp of it. It's about a Roman... I want to say he's a senator. I'm not sure though. But he's like a noble in Rome who frequents a bathhouse in Rome, which was a very big deal. Romans loved their bathhouses. And he falls into the drainage system of the bathhouse in Rome, and he gets teleported to Japan and way into the future. There's a movie from 2012 and one from 2014 where you can see this, and it's quite funny because they really tried to do like justice to like make Rome, like the Roman sets and everything, and it looked really good. Given the nature of Japanese television, or Japanese movie industry, I suppose. But it was kind of hard to do because they had to find people who spoke Japanese as well, right? So all the Romans had this very kind of half kind of Japanese look about them, you know. And it was sort of a bit awkward in that way, but a funny movie nonetheless, and I think quite entertaining. And so they've revamped the original anime into this new series. And a thing that's interesting, it turns out Japanese people are very good at speaking Latin, because there's some points where the main character in this just, starts speaking Latin to Japanese people, obviously, when he's first there. And it just turns out like the intonation and everything is pretty good if you're Japanese. So if you're going to watch it for its Latin, then watch it in Japanese, I guess. Apparently the Spanish is the worst, though. So don't watch that Dalvert. But yeah, fun concept. You guys familiar with it at all?
Yeah, I've seen it around. I haven't watched the full
I've seen
series.
the PV, but I have not watched it.
Yeah, it's like a niche sort of thing that will appeal to people who are like interested in both anime and like ancient Rome.
I'm interested in both of those things, so I should watch it.
Yeah. Although I'm kind of not interested in this new one because I've seen it before, right? So.
Oh, okay.
It just feels like I'm watching the same thing again, just better done. And they've made the character look more like the guy from the movie than he did in the original anime. So I mean, that's fine. Probably makes more sense. He was weirdly blonde for a Roman in the original anime, but everyone from Europe is blonde and blue-eyed if you're Japanese, eh?
Yeah.
Just from our Genshiken episode, the fact that the foreign girl was literally that, yeah.
It's almost a meme in Japanese um, uh, media for that to happen, I guess. So, just to top out the other ones I'm watching, I watch Spy Family.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Don't say the X, guys, if you don't want to. If you think people can be confused, say Spy X Family though. That's one of those weird things, eh? You know it's wrong to say the X, but people will be confused if you don't.
Oh, sure. I went to go see a band yesterday that called Parts X Fiction, but it's Parts and Fiction. They're using the probability operator.
Oh, okay.
So, when they actually said their name, and that then dawned on me that that's how it was used, I then learned to stop taking for granted that it is just this way or that way. So I've got no idea how it's actually.
But just generally in Japanese, you just don't say the X. Like servant X service, just servant service.
Servant service.
Three eyes.
Although triple X holic, you say the X.
Yes, well, I mean, how else would you say it? I guess.
Well, I suppose you'd then say XX holic, right? If you miss one.
XXX holic, yeah. I can't remember how it is in the actual Japanese. It's been a while. Then so I was watching Spy Family, which is delightful.
I love it. Yeah.
Spy Family is one of the shows I've been hyping for a while because the manga for this just keeps getting better. And I will say that where the anime is currently, we still got more up to go. It's ridiculous. I am so hype for this to continue.
There
Nice.
is a weird innocence about these two murderers who are raising this little child. That is very cute to watch, I guess. So the story is this spy from fictional Western country goes to fictional Eastern Berlin, I think, is the analog here.
Yeah.
It's East and West Germany is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but he's in
Maybe.
Eastern Berlin, right?
Berlin.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is so he's in East Berlin and they're trying to infiltrate like a school, so he needs a child. So he goes to an orphanage and inquires one, as you do.
As you do. Yeah.
And it turns out she's also she's a psychic, right? She's an Esper.
Yeah.
And so
But he doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that. Only she knows that. And she fools him into thinking she's really smart by doing like a crossword. And she just knows all the answers because she can kind of, I guess, gather them from other people's minds.
Well, it's like she showed it to him and then read his mind and then
Yes,
wrote
yeah.
it down. It was funny. Yeah. It's like a good con lift.
No, she's... And I think because she's like, she can sort of read people's minds, she's a little bit like smarter than a little kid her age would normally be. But still in that kind of delightful, innocent kind of way.
Yeah.
And then the mother character, he needs a wife as well to play the part. So he
Pretend to be a family.
sort of just finds this person at a dress shop, and it just so happens to be one of the assassins in the area, who is also looking for like a family cover story, so that she can continue murdering people, essentially, right?
Yeah. So that her brother doesn't
Doesn't just try to set her up, and the people at her work don't,
Yeah.
I suppose ostracize her somehow. That's important to this assassin.
Yeah.
But
she just needs a better cover.
Right, yeah.
Is what it ends up being. So he pretends to be Lloyd Forager, but his nickname is, or his alias is Twilight.
Twilight, yes.
And Yor is the Thorn Princess, or the Witch of Death.
Yeah, like Tangle Hime is like the Tangle Princess, whatever it is.
Because
yeah.
she's got those spikes.
Yes.
That she
So-
uses.
So the little girl knows all this, right? Because she's psychic, and she loves spy dramas. So she watches an anime on TV. That's her favorite show, and so she's not scared by this because she thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. When she's like, what, 7? That's probably how old
Something
you are
like that, yeah.
when you go to school. So Yeah, I mean it's delightful. It's funny. I particularly like that scene where the one lady spy delivers the expense report for when he rents out the entire
Yes.
castle.
Yes.
So that Anya, is it Anya? Anya,
Yeah, it's Anya.
Yeah, it's the
Anya can
girl,
have
yeah.
a little like fairy princess kind of spy adventure in a castle.
She can have her own private LARP. Great.
And like the director's like, is this an order of magnitude wrong?
I must say,
No.
the
No.
only reason I like this, maybe not the only reason, but the main reason I love this anime is because I needed to hear elegant.
Oh my god,
Oh,
yes,
yes.
yeah.
He's a good
This-
character.
one of the schoolmasters has a elegance fetish, I think is how you'd associate that. And just hearing him like butcher English words is amazing.
It's
Right.
incredible. I needed it.
Very eleganto. I don't know why I went Spanish there, but that was one of the best parts of that episode.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. I loved it.
Literally the highlight of the anime for me right now.
And I love how like in that episode in particular, they just go through so many wardrobe changes. They're like, oh, they came prepared. This is now getting ridiculous. This would be a social faux pas. Oh no, they've just saved themselves.
Extremely elegant. But yeah, I'd recommend anyone watch it. It's got a bit of everything for anyone who likes almost anything in anime, right?
Mm.
There's some great car action. There's some great gun action. There's some spy
Yeah.
drama. There's some personal drama. There's even family drama. It's just ridiculous. I love the show.
This
The-
will be
the
this will
fu-
be
the-
a great parody anime, I think.
Yeah,
If anyone ever does something like that.
their fight scenes are done very well. They've got a, I mean, like the minute it aired, there were just 1,000,001 clips on YouTube of the drunk Yor fighting
Versus Lloyd.
Twilight. Yeah.
Mm, Lloyd man.
And it was a great scene. He was like, literally,
What-
oh
what-
shit, I'm gonna die.
What's the English translation? Is it Lloyd Man?
Lloyd man.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought
Because he's not using his name. He's using the alias.
the
Anya gives him.
Bond Man. would be-
Bond man.
Yeah,
Well, she doesn't call him Bond man when they're doing the scenario.
yeah no,
She
it's-
knows it's her father.
Yeah, yeah.
So she calls him Lloyd,
Lloyd
man,
Man.
as a ripoff of Bond man.
Yeah, no, it was a really cute sequence, and like the drunk fighting thing was interesting.
I
Didn't
have to
expect
ask,
that.
since you guys are still following it, and I am a bit scatterbrained, have we been introduced to Yor's brother yet?
We
I've
know
heard
of
him on
him.
the phone, but I
Yeah,
don't think seen
we've
him.
never met him.
Yeah.
He's in the. I suspect he's in the
Title,
intro.
yeah.
because He's wearing the Gestapo-esque
Mm-hmm.
uniform. Not Gestapo-esque. I mean, it's a different crowd now. Actually,
Do you guys mind a very small spoiler?
I mean, he's going to be a spy hunter, right?
Yes, correct.
We won't, but don't spoil it for our listeners yet.
Fair enough.
It is fairly predictable, but like
It is
in a good way.
predictable.
In a good
To
way.
add
right?
into the family drama, he's
Yeah.
part of the entire
Yeah, yeah.
mesh.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
he's a spy hunter. I'm sure.
So he's from, I don't know. He's like British or American, right? Basically,
Lloyd.
yeah.
He is from a country adjacent to this, but he's been adopted by the British agency.
Okay.
The equivalent of the British agency,
Right,
I
right.
should say.
Which,
Westlands.
So-
yeah, which
yeah.
which an analogy works because you'll have West German agents working it, right? But they're technically all working under the
Yeah.
post-Allied banner.
So he's like
Mm.
sort of a combination of CIA and MI5, right? Sort of.
He's a local asset. He's a war orphan.
Okay.
Mm.
But,
So
but
he's
he's
not
working for
officially
those.
in.
Well, he's getting paid by them.
He's getting paid by them,
Yeah.
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 Who's paying her? Is that
She's an assassin organization. There's always an underground
right?
in these
But
places.
she's not like backed by a government, is she?
No, not a
No.
singular government. She's backed by an organization that can be paid.
Yeah, see, we haven't really worked that out in the series. I assume that's covered more in the manga.
Right.
Well,
But,
we know that she's a hired assassin, but we don't know particularly who she attacks yet. But
she's
we
a
do-
poor hired assassin. I mean, she's not particularly wealthy. And we
we
know.
do find that she works for both sides, kind of.
Right.
Okay, because in the first episode, she definitely kills like a traitor in
The Ostlandia.
Ostlandia, which sort of would it
Put her in the
implies,
east,
or at least
yeah.
puts him down as to the fact that she may in fact be on opposite sides to Lloyd if
To
they ever
Lloyd.
kind of
Yeah.
found out about each other. But it doesn't feel that way either to a large extent.
I just sort of thought maybe she was like going to be working for like the Russian equivalent in this world. But,
So she takes jobs from them. She does.
right.
But she's not aligned with them. Her brother is.
Okay.
And that's where that grind comes from.
I mean, that's where the drama is going to come from at some point.
Exactly.
Also. Yeah.
So the brother is against everyone, and Lloyd is just like, I just need to do this job and I'm going to leave. And he's supposed to be like emotionless.
3 weeks away
But
from
every-
retirement. So,
Yeah.
But every time these idiots interact, you can really tell that Lloyd actually cares.
yes, no, especially when you squashed that mosquito. When he smashed the desk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Anya was going to cry.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I love the show.
It is. It's a good show. I agree.
But moving on, I suppose.
And wholesome in a
There-
murdery way.
It is. That's a good way to describe it. There are things I am not watching, which I'm sure people tell me is great, but I don't care about sports anime. So
Oh yeah,
there's
double down on that one with you.
Awashi, you know, that's the soccer one, and then there's like
Yeah,
a golf one, like a cute girls do golf thing. Birdie
Yeah,
one.
and I mean, but are you watching that because you like golf, or you're watching that because you like the cute girls?
No, I mean like I'm watching all my cute girls do fishing anime. That's what I want to watch. It's a surprising amount of them.
Nice.
There's a few other ones. I'm gonna watch Kaguya-sama Love is War the second season at some point, but I've been going through the previous season because I don't remember it. So I
It
haven't got to it
doesn't.
yet.
I've read up on it. It doesn't appeal to me from what I've read.
Yeah, it's something like I feel like I should like more than I do, but I sort of feel that as well. I decided I'm just not going to watch The Rising of the Shield Hero second season.
Kaguya-sama Love is
Likewise.
War is a manga / anime for slightly emotionally stunted people that wish romance was real. So it directly appeals to me, but I'm not watching this one.
They wish like that misunderstanding romance thing was real, right? Which I kind of love in other animes. Like there's like a scene in Gamers where
There's
like,
not just a scene, the
Sure.
entire show hangs on that.
no, but there's like I think it's sort of like a brilliant school scene where just everyone's having this weird like existential crisis about some misunderstanding they have, like sitting next to each other on the desks. It's the most action-packed math like exam I've ever seen. But I usually like that sort of stuff. I think the Love is War thing is not as good because it doesn't have as many characters maybe in that regard. So it's just not as tense.
I will say, I think Love is War has the best chaos character I've ever seen in a high school anime.
But yeah.
But
she's
outside of
great.
that, I don't want to watch the show. So.
And really into Cthulhu. But anyway, so let's go through some of like so those are all the major ones, right? So let's go through a few
Say
others.
Summertime Render needs to be on the list.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at that one actually.
Sure. Apparently there was an Ancient Magus Bride OVA too.
Yes, there's an OVA for Ancient Magus Bride.
So
Ancient Magus Bride, by the way, the anime, if anyone hasn't watched it, please go watch it. It's actually one of the best fantasy anime I've seen
yeah,
pretty much ever.
with like a cliffhanger ending that is never going to be paid off at this point.
It'll
Basically.
never be paid off.
Yeah.
But I don't think any anime explores fantasy like that outside of like movies.
It's kind of incredible. You just have to ignore some of the more dark elements of it if you don't like that sort of stuff.
So, Chris, have you gone through all of the anime you've watched this season?
No, there's two more I want to mention.
Okay.
A Couple of Cuckoos, which is so like the premise of the show is these two people were switched at birth, and so this kind of serious, academically intelligent kind of guy was raised by like a street hooligan kind of family, and their child was raised by this kind of rich upper class family, and it's a kind of harem about them. And of course they're introducing like a little sister kind of thing here, because he had a sister in the wrong family who's now slowly realizing that he's not her brother, which is a kind of weird one, but it's not as weird as some of the other anime that have had that sort of trope in them. It's actually just well done and is funny. I just recommend giving it a watch. I'm not going to talk too much about it though. And then another one I really like is Aharen-san wa Hakare Nai. It's about this girl who can't speak, but it's not Kami-san, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it probably got made because Kami-san was being made at the same time. What is English name of this?
I don't think there's an actual English name for this.
No, can't find it, so that's fine. We'll just go
Aharen
with
is indecipherable, is apparently the closest, and that's a fan translation.
But she can speak, right? She's not like, it's not like social phobia like in Kami, but her voice is just incredibly soft. So she has to like basically be leaning into like someone's ear before they can hear anything she says.
Yeah.
So the first like half of the episode is just the main character. He's been put in a new seat for a new year at school, and he's been put next to Haren. And he's trying to like talk to her, and she sort of just looks at him blank-faced. And you kind of figure out that she has actually been like just replying to him, but no one can hear her. So he kind of realizes that at some point, and then she sort of like attaches to him like a limpet, because like he's the only person who can actually like figure out what she's saying. It's just cute. It's got that weird little like big guy, little girl kind of trope thing going on there. So yeah, it's a cute dynamic. I recommend that as well. But that'll, I think, be it for what I'm watching. No, wait, I'm also watching In the Heart of Kunoichi Tsubaki, which is about a all-female ninja school who are competing against an all-male ninja school in secret, and none of the people know this. So all of the girls have been kind of raised to think that men are like actual monsters.
This
like
is the one that you were telling us about last.
Yeah, so like the teacher tells them basically like, literal yokai stories about men. And so there's only like three people.
Not wholly inaccurate either.
Well, I mean, they don't breathe fire or anything like that, that sort of thing. But so she's sort of like slowly figuring out like she's being indoctrinated in like a cult. But it's actually just like a slice of life kind of cute girls do cute things with a lot of good voice actors from other shows. I think it has a lot of voice actors from Wasteful Days of High School Girls. So if you like that, you'll probably like this. And yeah, that'll do it for me, I think. So what have you guys been watching that is not... Well, talk about those things if you want as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Dylan,
go
would you...
ahead.
Oh, you'd like me to
no.
go? Okay.
Yeah, I would.
So, while it hasn't aired yet, I do want to put out a note here that Isekai Quadrat movie is set to air on the 10th of June this year.
We'll probably talk about that once we
When
see it.
when we get our hands on it, via whatever methods we use, this is something I wish to discuss, yes. Spy Family is the first anime that I had put on my list. We've talked about it already, but I just wanted to add that I also am watching that. Data A Live Series 4. It's a bit of an unusual harem-type combat show.
Yeah.
Very popcorn TV, not really a very deep storyline in any way, shape, or form. But the designs are pretty, the combat's pretty, and a lot of the interactions are cute. Summertime Render. It's on Crunchyroll. I can see it on Crunchyroll, so I don't know. But maybe I'm crazy. Anyways, Summertime Render is like a modern remake of ReZero in the real world without fantasy.
Right.
It's got mystery elements, so I can't really discuss the plot too much.
Yeah,
And our MC is not really about suffering, so there's not too much pure suffering in it either.
it sounded more like a mystery, just kind of investigation thing when I read.
It is a
summary.
mystery show, but it is a mystery show with a lot of death and a lot of resetting.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there is obviously that, but it's more like real worldy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's set in the real world, quote unquote.
Quote unquote, yeah.
There's obviously something supernatural happening, but it's set in our world, so it's not like it's not an isekai, it's not a fantasy thing. There's no levels and guilds and crap like that. It's literally a mystery in our world that our MC is trying to resolve. Then I'm watching Yusha Yamamasu, which is I'm Quitting Heroing, which is an isekai trash.
Is that the Demon Lord one?
No, this is not the Demon
Okay.
Lord one. This is the hero's been betrayed by the good guys after he defeats the Demon Lord. And so he switches positions and goes and works for the Demon Lord to rebuild the Demon Lord's army to go kick the ass of the people that betrayed him.
Okay, I think I'm still getting to that one. It's like on one of my like lists.
Exactly like
Yeah.
a Data Live. It's popcorn. The fights are cool. Don't try to think.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, it's what it is.
Indeed. I just wanted to say very much what it is. Then we get into the trash, which amusingly after what I just said. Skeleton Knight in Another World.
I couldn't.
I'm like, oh.
I watched-
Skeleton Knight in
yeah.
Another World has an interesting start and not much else. It falls off very quickly after its beginning, but I enjoy the power fantasy elements of its beginning. So I'm going to watch this for probably 6 episodes, if I can stomach it. And that's about it.
I read that it has a rough start, much in the same way as Goblin Slayer does. But for me, Goblin Slayer was worth the rough start.
Yeah. No,
This
Goblin
doesn't
Slayer
have
gets
anything
interesting.
like. This has nothing of consequence in it. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
There's
Okay,
no,
so it's not-
there's
not as
no dealing
harsh.
with tough topics or anything.
I think it was just kind of, I don't know, something about it just shut down my brain and wouldn't let me like watch more than 10 minutes of it. So
Indeed,
I did try.
it's total trash. It is total trash, but there's no heavy element to it. There's nothing there. There's no substance.
another one in that category this season was Healer Girl for me. So I-
Healer Girl. Which
I-
one's Healer Girl?
I
Are you
watched-
talking
I
about
watched-
Healer's trash?
no, it's called Healer Girl. Fair enough. Okay, thank you. Yes. Thank
There's
you.
a lot
Thank
of
you very much
healer-
for that.
healer stuff.
But yeah, so it's like a singing anime, which
Oh no. Okay.
you know, so these girls can heal via singing, and they work in like some weird shrine organization, and they get magical powers. It's kind of in a real world setting as well, so it's kind of
Oh,
strange.
okay.
But I could see it. It's just an excuse for songs. So, which there is another show. I'm hoping someone will bring up, but if they don't, I'll bring it up as well. That does singing well this season.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the good singing one.
But-
Sorry, Chris. I wasn't
Go on,
referring
yeah.
to the show you're talking about. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
referring to the show Konohila Mendokusai.
Yeah, haven't heard of that one, but
I'm not watching that because I read the manga and I didn't like it. It's about a healer that's absolutely terrible at their job and makes you feel bad every time she does need to
is
heal
it
you.
perhaps Don't Hurt Me, My Healer?
Yes, Don't
Yeah,
Hurt
yeah.
Me, My Healer.
Okay.
But it's
I was
basically
gonna
about
have a look at it and then
a shitty kid being a shitty kid.
Yeah, well, I have added this to my list, so I might get to it at some point.
So she
Probably
deals
not,
emotional damage anytime you actually need her to help you.
How,
I mean that I might
how
find
very
that appealing.
Japanese.
I might find that appealing.
Then onto the show that Chris was talking about when I mentioned the previous show before this one. The Greatest Demon Lord is reborn as a typical nobody.
Sort of. There should be like a giant asterisk next to that title. Right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is totally not the show from last season, we swear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is more popcorn trash. This one has
I kinda like
an
it,
MC
though.
that actually has a personality.
Yeah, right.
So I'm willing to get invested in this one. Demon Lord Varvatos had a troublesome life and reborn himself as like a nobody, but obviously because he has a lot of power, trouble follows him into his next life. And honestly, the fact that they wrote a main character that has a personality just sells this to me, so I'm gonna do it. And the fan service has nothing to do with why I'm here, guys, I promise.
Sure. I mean,
Um,
also, like, the love interest is not boring.
Yes, the love interest girl has her own storyline and own power. She's not a
Right.
helpless damsel,
Yeah,
which is super cool.
That is cool.
And she only likes the main character because he's also a monster, right?
Yes, yeah. They both have some problems, and they both are together because of those problems.
Justice.
It's a cool mutual dependence kind of love story, I guess.
Oh god, no. I
Then,
mean, anime does do toxic relationships really well for some reason.
yes, yeah. Oof, oof. I will say that their relationship is unhealthy because she loves him no matter what. Like he can literally never talk to her and she'll still love him, which is a bit shitty. But that's also because everyone has turned their backs on them, so they have no choice. But at the same time, he's under the same pressure. Everybody would turn their back on him if they knew as well. So she's his only reliable partner.
It's a good partnership to conquer the world, I'm sure. As well.
Then the anime that I hyped as much as Spy Family, Love After World Domination, which is thankfully well adapted. I was afraid that the adaptation would be terrible. It is not. Love After World Domination is the leader of a Sentai group, which in the West, the most popular Sentai group I know of is the Power Rangers.
So most
Falls in love with the leader of the villains team, Dark Gelato. And the two of them actually end up falling in love with each other as they both agree that they like each other. And so now they must pretend to fight each other and they plan operations around their dates so that they can fight each other as their alt personas. And then after they fought for a couple of minutes, they go off into the back and have a date. And in the background, there's explosions, the world is ending sometimes, things are going very well or very bad. And these two are having a lovely, lovely date. And it's the funniest, it's got great humor, it's got great personality, and it's the only romance anime/manga that I continue to read.
Yeah,
Because it's totally a romance thing.
I mean, I wish I could speak more about it. It looks good. I just haven't watched it.
I mean, this is the thing with so much to watch.
Yes, indeed, exactly.
Getting
I
there.
will say the one thing I like about the show more, and it's one of the reasons why I think Love is War, Kaguya Love is War, is also a good thing, is because they develop their cast really well. The main characters are nice and all. I do like them, don't get me wrong. But the fact that they develop their cast really well and they maintain that characterization through their runtime really fucking appeals to me. I know it's hard to maintain a lot of storylines, but this manga at least does that extraordinarily well. I can't say that I've ever been invested in a side story in a world as much as I am in this one. And then we come to the anime that I think will get the least views but deserves more attention. Trapped in a dating sim, the world of Otome games is tough for mobs.
Yes, yeah. I like the premise, but again,
The premise
just
is solid.
haven't watched it. Yeah.
Our MC is a sour, cynical asshole whose sister blackmailed him into playing dating simulators for her because she was too lazy to put in the work herself.
Such a bizarre thing to do.
And then he dies and gets reborn as a mob in a dating sim. And he has decided that he's not going to let himself get trampled. So he goes and takes the heroine's loot. But he can't take any of her actual stuff, because a lot of it is dresses and jewelry and stuff. So you can only take the bits that aren't like girly outfit stuff, which includes a giant flying mecha.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's all of that. There's that whole shebang. So we have this cynical, semi-assholey character who shouldn't be in power in any way, getting power, and he uses it to crush opposition to
I
him.
mean, that is the poster for anyone who's looking for it.
Indeed.
In their feed.
It is good. The comedy is good. I constantly get that Schadenfreude, that watching people suffer gives me health feel from this. As people who are complete assholes to anybody poor to them, just get their face stomped on constantly. It's a really good show for watching people get the shit kicked out of them for being bad, while our MC is bad. And that's everything I'm watching.
Okay, Dylan, do you want to go through your stuff?
Yeah, and I will go through. So I mean,
I've got some honorable mentions.
nice. Same deal. So very like recently, Spy X Family is on my weekly to watch list. I watch it with Abs. We go through it every Sunday when it airs. And then I've been watching the second season of Mob Psycho 100 just to prepare myself for the next season that drops when it does.
Yeah, no, it looks looking kind of epic. It seems like Ekubo's going to be like a bad guy again, which is interesting.
I really like how things change from season to season. It's pretty good for me. But yeah, in terms of this spring, the one that sort of appeals to me the most that I'm probably going to start looking at next is butcher this pronunciation, Shokei Shoujo no Virgin Road, The Executioner and a Way of Life.
Okay.
Right.
Which is it's an isekai. I hate to admit it, but it's one in which the isekai gets stabbed in the face and dies. the guy who actually travels to another world. So the premise is basically just that this world calls upon Japanese people in particular and like transports them into their world, because once they have been transported into the world, they innately have really intense powers, standard isekai format. But they're also either misused or they just sort of embark on a couple of them embark on these massive cataclysmic events. And so there's this religious order that has spawned that has decided that these kinds of people are really not good for this world. And so they're going to assassinate them when they can find them. And that's how the show starts, is your protagonist, who's actually of the fantasy world, finds an isekai candidate, helps unlock his true power, and then stabs him in the face. Great. So that's on my first up list. Summertime Render is something I'm really interested in. I'm hoping it can go both ways for me. It can either be something that I really enjoy, or it could just get very old very quickly, depending on how well they do it. So I'm gonna just watch it with an open mind and see. And then on the less high up on priority order, just because time for me is quite limited, there's a show called Der Aimon, which looks quite interesting. It's like a love story surrounding
espionage
traditional
superhero.
Japanese sweets and the making thereof.
Okay.
Which I think might be kind of cute. Kono Hila, as we've spoken about, although that might be less up on that list now that Yesh mentions it. Great. And the last one that I wanted to mention was RPG Fudosan. Which
I was wondering if anyone was watching that one.
I'm not watching it. I just wanted to mention it because I kind of think that it would sort of suit the two of you from its description really well. I just hope that it would be done well enough that it actually pulls that through. The English name is RPG Real Estate, and it's supposed to sort of... The concept's supposed to encapsulate trying to get real estate in an RPG.
In an RPG world.
Yeah.
And it is a cute girls doing cute things show, as a note.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's also there's one that I just sort of started watching. So I watched like 3 episodes. It's called Paripi Kome, which is let me just try and find the English name. It's okay, I can't say that. So it's like Podikosen Kome. I don't understand how to say that in English. Kongming? Yeah, boy Kongming? Is that like the proper Chinese way to say his name? So it's this ancient Chinese general from the warring the Three Kingdoms period.
Oh yes, I have seen that. I haven't seen it.
Is dying of old age, and he gets a wish to reincarnate, and so I don't know, because he's so famous or something.
Yeah.
Like he wakes up in Japan, like as a young man, and thinks he's in hell because he arrives during Halloween, and there's just people in like yokai and devil costumes all around him. So he's like, yeah, Kome, you've done some terrible things. This is obviously hell. And he kind of gets like peer pressured into like a club. And he thinks this girl is a demon who is singing. But he kind of falls in love with like the music. And so what I was saying earlier, this is the music anime to maybe watch this season. Where it's about this ancient Chinese strategist, that's probably the correct word, who is using his strategy skills, his tactical skills, to make this girl he found into like a famous singer. And it's got that bizarre gap between characters, because it's this like beats per minute kind of like rave music, contrasted with 2-century-old Chinese guy, right? And it's full of those sort of things. Like the first episode, he spends like a good like 10 minutes just asking what everything in the world is, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys saw any of it.
No, it's
No.
I haven't watched it, but on looking at all the anime, it's also one of the ones that I wanted to watch.
I mean, it's got a really good library of music that is associated with it as well, and
Nice.
the song is called Chiki Chiki Bam Bam for the opening. Very kind of addictive to listen to. Yeah, so I think go ahead if anyone is going to be interested in anything to do with music this season. It's probably the one to watch. You don't have to watch Healer Girl. You're not missing out on anything. This is the one you got to watch.
This is the one. Awesome.
Yeah, and are there any other ones you guys want to mention?
Yeah, there's
Yeah, sorry. I just want to say, after Dylan is done with his thing, I want to talk about the next season. There's a couple of points I want to make.
Before
But
you
sorry,
do that,
Dylan,
I just want to
carry
bring up there are a bunch of returning anime as well, such as the second season of Kami, which we haven't mentioned because it's just a returning anime, but it continues to be really good. And other than that, The Kingdom came back. If you like that, Legend of the Galactic Heroes is another movie. And obviously Rising of the Shield Hero, which I'm not going to watch, but if you want to watch it, go ahead.
Best of luck to you.
Pacific Rim is technically an anime. It's got a second season now.
So I can flat out say, do not the fuck watch that. It is. Oh my god. Sorry, do you mind if I ran for like a second here?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Holy, that is bad. That is so. I went through season 1, which is okay because it starts off as YA trash bad.
Yeah, it does.
And then progresses to this story could get interesting, and there's a lot of I've got no better words to use for this, so this isn't quite accurate, but it's as close as I can get. They bring in lore into that sort of universe.
Sure.
And then they go into the second season and they just whitewash that all away for more YA trash. But then they don't recover it again. It gets worse and worse. There are a whole bucket load of bad writing, faux pas. There's a whole bucket load of oh man, there's nothing to recover the series. The fight scenes are not as great as they should be. I think there was one memorable one, and I can't even specifically remember it right now. So I do note that there was one that I said, yeah, that wasn't bad. The intro is awful. They have one of the worst intros to, and I know that it's not an Asian anime. I know that it's right. It's a Western anime.
I believe it's American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got the worst intro.
Although it might be animated in Australia,
second season.
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Second season.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just don't recommend it. They retcon a lot of the stuff in the actual movies, you know. And not only that, I mean, I'm not even a massive fan of that franchise. I think it's okay. This show just objectively for me is just really bad. It's really bad writing. It's really bad voice acting. It's really bad. The animation's okay. It's not great. I wouldn't say it's really bad, but it's certainly not above 5 for me.
Yeah.
The choreography is terrible. Like so just don't watch it. Skip it.
I mean, if
go to a better anime.
Yeah, if you want to watch Giant Robots, Ultraman has a second season out. And,
yeah,
indeed. Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of good mecha anime for the last 30 years you could go and pick up and good kaiju anime that you could go pick up.
There is a Godzilla series on Netflix that they made, which is a kind of interesting one.
I saw the first episode and it didn't hook me enough to watch the second one. But it's not that I didn't put it in the dumpster. I just forgot about it.
Yeah, the problem with it is it's structured like a whole movie. So the first episode just is like, the first few minutes of the movie, unfortunately. But it does get okay. I mean, but, it's definitely better than the Pacific Rim.
There are more Cthulhu-esque elements in that one, isn't there? It's like starts to bring in some more like.
Well, the female lead is like a researcher who studies fantasy creatures, I guess. So
yeah,
possibly. Yeah, and there's a bit of like horror and I don't know, but it's more like a sciencey kind of thing than a Cthulhu-y thing, I would say.
Yeah, I did.
Although, like the skull of Godzilla is like powering a facility, it seems. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like they go into the basement and it's like shock horror. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Cosmic horror entity in a bottle.
But I think
that's powering your lights.
The strange thing about it is it's turning into a mecha, right? That's basically what it is. Kaiju versus mecha. So it is like a Pacific Rim kind of story more than anything.
But probably done better than
and the movies are fine. I think the animated series is
weird. The movies are fine. The anime series is the problem here. The black sheep of the family.
They should have actually just let a Japanese studio handle the anime. And that would have been probably quite interesting.
I think they probably would have had some possible IP clashes. The executives need to make decisions and go with those decisions. And you could see that there was like standard Netflix executive decision-making processes in that, which is part of the problem.
Which is the process is to open the door to the incinerator and pour the money in, right?
No, it's it's not as bad as some of the woke for woke's sake content that they've had in the past. It's like I don't want to go too off topic. Sabrina is like a classic case of that. They had a really good premise they were going towards, and then they they used it as a boat for other things, and that just
sort of derail in the later seasons. I'll say that for sure.
That's its own kind of conversation, which I won't go into right now. Yeah. But yeah, so that's it. One Netflix anime that I am looking forward to, and I hope they don't mess this up. They've got good anime on that I've watched, so I've got faith they won't, or at least there's a possibility. Is Cyberpunk Edgerunner, and I only mention it because we actually don't know when it's going to release, so it may still be this season, or maybe next season, or the season after. It just says 2022. Yeah, we don't know.
It's not this season for sure.
Yeah.
I think that is coming still. What was the Iki Towson, right?
Yes.
That's coming back sometime this season theoretically.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that as well.
Yeah. So that'll be a good one to talk. Like 20-year-old anime coming back.
Yeah, and 20-year-old anime, and to see how, like, if they change any of the, some themes in there are not not in taste.
Well, it's called New
Century.
Ikitasen, right? So I imagine it's like a reboot, kind of soft reboot kind of thing. So probably change it so you can put it on TV. Put it that way.
I thought they were going to bring it back to like just as a
No one really knows.
Sequel.
Obviously, except the people that are making it. So we'll see when that comes out.
yeah.
Speaking of old anime coming back, Devil is a Part-Timer is coming back.
I did see that. That's amazing. I never thought we would get a second season of that.
Second season of that, yeah.
Devil is a Part-Timer is, what, 2013, I want to say?
No. The original is 2012.
Okay, I will play Sumi. But it's a good
sorry.
show. And
Old is what I meant.
It's like a reverse isekai where the demon lord, doesn't get reincarnated, but he comes through a gate.
Yes, he
kind
gets
of
transferred to the real world.
can't use magic because the real world doesn't have magic unless you make people scared or something. I think is the tone of that show.
So it doesn't have enough magic to maintain his devil form, but one of his demon lord superpowers is that he can draw magic from fear.
Yeah. So he can, and when like an earthquake happens and people are scared, he suddenly gets his demon powers back. Right. That's basically the gist of that. But for the most part of the season, he's just an employee at a McDonald's, and it's amazing. And he's like, he's like a high, obviously like as the demon lord, he's like a super achiever, and he's got like this underling who is also like they want to get back to the world and they want to do that, but he gets distracted by like the promotion chain at a McDonald's store. And decides he has to work his way up to the top of the chain.
The full top of the corporate ladder in McDonald's.
So he can take over the world via McDonald's or something.
Following on the Ikitosen new naming scheme, Tokyo Mew Mew New is also announced.
Oh no.
But I did want to talk
No,
about
again.
next season. So Legend of Galactic Heroes, the new movie, is announced to air.
Oh, it's out already.
Oh, it's out already,
Yeah.
yes. Never mind. The fourth season is coming, sorry. 3 episodes.
It's not a season, it's like a movie.
It's a mini movie,
It's like a mini-series or something. I called it a movie in my mind.
For Chris in particular, Eurocamp the movie is coming.
Yay.
July 1st.
Oh, we might be...
Overlord 4 is next season.
Yeah.
Oh, we might be wrong with Galactic Heroes. I don't want to mislead people. It does actually look like it's a 10-episode season.
Yes, yeah. It's listed as a season of 3 episodes, which is not a lot of episodes, but whatever.
I don't like allowing people to call things seasons and then say they're 3 episodes. It feels like the same argument, like the same kind of conversation we have about
I have nothing to
pre-purchasing games.
substantiate this with, but it looks like there are 10 episodes, which is,
Oh, okay.
I think, long
Okay.
enough for it to be.
Indeed,
then that's
indeed,
fine.
yeah.
Then that's fine.
Then also, I just want to point out that if you like that ninja anime that Chris was talking about this time, or teasing Master Takagi, from the same author, When Will Ayumu Make His Move is coming next season.
Sounds...
This author is great at cinnamon bun, very warm feels romance. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, weird thing I want from that teasing Master Takagi show is for it to end, so they can make the new one, like the adult show of it, with their daughter, I think.
The daughter, yeah.
I think that'll also be a pretty great one.
Do you know that's made by a different author, hey?
Really?
Yeah, the
wow.
adult one is made by a different author with the permission from the original guy.
That's crazy.
It is crazy,
doesn't feel
but
like that.
they both work together, so
Okay.
they make crossover moments or episodes. Then for Dylan/Chris, I wanted to point out that next season we have one anime that I'm not going to watch, but you two might love, The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
Yes.
I am a big fan of The Way of the House Husband. So maybe if it's not just a ripoff, if it's its own thing.
It's not a ripoff. It's completely separate.
Okay.
Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, although, to be fair, they have been around at the same time as each other, but the feel is quite different.
It does look good.
And I just want to say before the season happens, so that nobody can say, oh yes, you always say you know what the big one is going to be, but I never predict. Isekai Oji-san is coming next season. It's not going to be big, but it is going to be the best anime of next season. By far. By a wide mile.
I think Mob's coming out next season, isn't it?
No, Mob 3 is not coming soon. It's been announced now. It got leaked that it's announced, but it's not coming.
Is it not? I think it's fall.
Is it fall?
I mean, that's the.
I mean,
shared
but the next season
right?
is.
I think that's what
Yeah,
it
the
said.
next season is summer, though.
Is it? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Mob Psycho
okay,
is
right,
fall.
yeah, right.
Mob Psycho
So
is
yeah,
fall.
it'll be at the end of the year, not the next.
Yes,
2 months.
yeah.
Okay.
So it won't compete with Isekai Oji-san, which is very important to me. I need this to be successful, boys.
That's good. We'll enjoy our Isekai Oji-san. And on that note, I think we've talked about all the anime of the season that we're going to talk about. I hope this has been useful to someone, and thank you all for watching. My name's Chris.
Yeah, and let us know what you think.